Do you want to live in Canada? Yeah, so did you know that you need to take a test in order to immigrate to Canada called CELPIP? So today I'm gonna go over this test with you, especially the listening part. I know that many English students, learners, or professionals have difficulty in this part. So here am I, Rafaela Ramos, an English coach, to help you out. Go smoothly through this test. You see that it's not as hard as it seems. So I have some slides to share with you, and we're gonna get started. So if you're aiming a better salary, if you want more quality of life, if you want to study in another country, yeah, this might be a task for you to take a look at. So it's different from the IELTS test, that it's more widely accepted, but for Canada, this test is very popular. I'm not going to go over into many details because we want to do practice. We want to jump into what we're supposed to do, which is solving mock tests, okay? So that's our goal. And with this course, I hope to guide you and to set you for success at the CELPIP General Test when you want to become a resident in Canada. So a quick overview before we start. We'll talk about the listening part of CELPIP. Remember that there are four skills that are evaluated, assessed in the test. So they are reading, they are listening, writing, and speaking. We're going to focus on listening today. The benefits of training is being prepared, right? You have to know how questions are, just like when you do vestibular, yeah, for the Brazilians. You have to know the format of the questions, and that makes you more confident and more prepared, right? For example, a native speaker, a Canadian, probably wouldn't do a good job if this person did not have any knowledge about the test, right? We're gonna cover not the 6 parts. There are 6 parts or six types of listening in this test. We're gonna cover half of them, and then the other half will be for the second part of this course. We're gonna do practice. I love this. Yeah, instead of just talking, we're gonna be doing. Yeah, we're gonna roll up our sleeves. And this is something you should be focusing on, right? Listening more. If you're not doing this, start so you can start to learn some expressions, such as this one that I used. And we're going to summarize in the end with key learnings, key takeaways from this course. So I'm Rafaela Ramos. I'm an English coach. I have over 12 years of experience. I'm based in Porto, Portugal. So just like you, I once wanted to live abroad, and here I am, not in Canada though. I am specializing in training for enabling test takers like you to be successful on IELTS and CELPIP so they can study, live, work abroad. So our aim, our goal, our objective is to share tools for you to succeed, introduce some hacks for you to perform well, and offer really practical training, right? We're going to use mock tests. Mock tests are those tests that they are very similar to the real one you're going to take, right? It's a computer-based test. Normally the questions are spoken by audio. There are some patterns, and we're going to take a look. So we're going to focus on the three first parts of the listening. Listening 1, listen to problem solving, 8 minutes long. It has 8 multiple questions in 3 sections. So you listen to one part, you have 2 questions, listen to another part, then more questions, listen to the third part, and then you finalize with questions. It's nice to identify the problem, to recognize solutions, This is what you're trying to do in this part of the listening. It's a little easier. Yeah, it's kind of to start you in the test. Listening to, you'll be listening to daily life conversation. 5 minutes long, 5 multiple questions, multiple choice questions. Multiple choice is just like that from vestibular, okay? 2 minutes of audio. It has more details. It's not too casual. And you should already start to ask questions such as, what are they doing? Who is speaking? Why are they talking about this? When? How? These questions help you find yourself in the middle of the information you listen to. And the third type of listening is listen for information. So then you have 6 minutes for this part, and there will be 6 multiple choice questions. It gets a little more complex, but not as much. There is an expert normally explaining a topic to another person. And I really suggest you to learn how to take notes while you are taking the test and get used to being organized. So take notes in the order that you listen to information. You will receive a piece of paper and start to use abbreviations. Yeah, abbreviations. So you get faster at taking notes. For example, I have a student who achieved level 4. So he scored from 11 to 18 correct answers, but he's aiming for level 5 so he can get the job he wants in Canada. So what we're doing, we're training to improve his listening skills, and his goal is to get around 20 answers correctly so he can get the level 5 and achieve his job. So you should set a goal, you should have a clear goal. So search for the opportunity you want, for the job you want. What is the level necessary? Yeah, so then this is going to guide your preparation. If you need to score 30 to 33, you have to work harder. If you need to score 22 to 28, you have to work, but not as hard as level 8, okay? So it's important to know. 38 questions in total, right? It's a computer-based test, and we're going to take a look at general tips. So there are tips before you start doing the listening, while you are doing during when it's played, the recording is being played, and after when the recording is over, right? So what should you do before? Before the recording starts, you should analyze whatever the answers are, because normally you listen to the question and then the answers are already there. So really read carefully whatever is there. Also prepare yourself for notes. While you're listening to it, you are taking notes of names, of what's the problem, what's the solution, why is there a problem, is a solution presented, is it solved, how is it solved? So when you're doing this, you're taking notes organized in the order that you hear, and you're looking for gist. This is a very important word and a very important strategy. You're looking for the big picture, you know? You kind of imagine a scene, and this scene is being composed with more elements as they speak more about what is happening. This helps you stay focused, right? So gist is the main idea, right? Of course, you should listen for details, but here details are not as important, right? Details will start to be more and more important in parts 4, 5, and 6. And you'll be asked to infer, I'm sorry. Inference talks about what is not being said. So you have to conclude something, to draw a conclusion, because it's not given, but it's something about the feeling, the attitude of the speaker, right? Sometimes the speaker doesn't say like, oh, hey, friend, but they are speaking in a very friendly manner. So then you may be asked, are they friends? Are they co-workers? If they mention something like about, oh, last night I got a call from our boss. This is already inferring that they work together, right? So you have to be very attentive to this. And then we're gonna go right into practice. I'm super excited. So I'll share with you this link if you guys want, but I found some mock tests and we're gonna do part 1, 2, and 3 together, okay? As if it was a real test.
Listening test is about 50 minutes.
So you get these instructions when you start the test, the official one.
Listening test instructions. The listening test is about 50 minutes. There are 6 parts in listening test. You will have about 6 minutes to listen to each passage and answer the questions. The passage will be played once.
So there will be a practice question. Okay, this one is just to test the system, to test the computer.
Hey, you look concerned. What's on your mind?
The final exam. I'm not fully prepared yet.
Well, don't worry too much. You still have 3 days.
Yeah, but 3 days will fly past in a wink.
Well, you still have time to cram things in your brain anyway.
Question 1. Why is the man looked worried?
I'm gonna play it again because I wasn't sharing the sound, okay?
Hey, you look concerned. What's on your mind?
The final exam. I'm not fully prepared yet.
Well, don't worry too much. You still have 3 days.
Yeah, but 3 days will fly past in a wink.
Well, you still have time to cram things in your brain anyway.
Question 1. Why is the man looked worried?
So then you have to really rephrase what he said. So he looks worried, he did not sleep last night, he was studying, he didn't prepare enough for the final exams because tomorrow is his exam. So the answer is give you guys some time. Normally have the time here shown. Yeah. And it's
You will hear a conversation in 3 sections.
so
You
he'll
will
have
hear
an
each
exam.
section only once. After each section, you will hear 2 or 3 questions. You will hear the questions only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
And here, guys, what's really important is that you cannot go back, okay? Once you answer, you cannot return. So make sure that you put the answer that you find the most appropriate, the one that is correct, and then you move on, okay? All right, so listening to problem solving part 1. Remember 8 minutes, a conversation, and then task instructions before the listening, what you should be doing. You should read the instructions carefully, right? So keywords, conversation, a couple, okay, planning vacation, tight budget. Do they have a lot of money for their vacation? No, they are on a tight budget. They don't have a lot of money. Yeah.
Sarah, I've been thinking about our vacation, but with our tight budget, we need to plan it carefully.
I agree, Mark. We really need a break, but we can't spend too much. What are you thinking?
Well, first, let's consider a destination that's not too far away. That way, we can save on travel costs.
Good idea. How about a road trip to the mountains? We could rent a cabin or camp to save on accommodation.
Sounds great. And if we cook our meals instead of eating out, it'll save a lot too.
True, but we'll also need to set a daily spending limit for activities and souvenirs to stay on track.
Agreed. We should look for deals and discounts in advance for any attractions we want to visit. Plus, we can use cashback and rewards from our credit cards.
That's a smart move, Mark. And I've heard there are apps that help you find the best deals on travel and activities.
We should definitely check those out. If we plan well and stick to our budget, we can have an amazing vacation without breaking the bank.
Thanks for being so practical, Mark. I'm excited about our trip, and now I'm even more confident we can make it work.
In the conversation, what is Sarah's primary concern regarding their vacation?
So some time for you guys to answer and then I'll comment on it, okay? You have 30 seconds. Okay, so it's asking about Sarah's, the wife, yeah, Sarah's main concern. So what is she worried? What is she preoccupied, yeah, about? Finding the best travel deals, staying within their budget, choosing an expensive destination, or dining at fancy restaurants. Staying within their budget. Within is not to exceed, not to be higher, not to spend more than they have, right? So that's their main concern.
What type of accommodation do Mark and Sarah suggest to save on their vacation?
Okay, so they are on a tight budget, right? So they ask about what type of accommodation does Sarah suggest? Is it a luxury hotel? Expensive, right? Renting a cabin? Staying with friends, a beachfront resort. So like 1 and 4 already out of question, right? So renting a cabin, if you guys remember. So that's why note taking is so important, yeah, and in the order that you heard, because I took notes here. So tight budget, she suggested a road trip, rent a cabin. He suggested to cook, to plan their expenses, deals, credit card, right? So take notes.
How do Mark and Sarah plan to fund their vacation using credit cards?
Remember to breathe, to stay calm. Right. So the question was, how do Mark and Sarah plan to fund their vacation using their credit card? So by maxing out their credit limits? No, right? They are on a tight budget and they don't want to get bankrupt or to be broke. Using cashback and rewards, by taking out cash advances, by borrowing from friends. So cashback and rewards, right? This is something they mentioned.
You will hear the second section of the conversation shortly.
So remember there are 3 sections. That is section 2, still about the same scenario, the same context, yeah? The couple planning their vacation on a tight budget.
I'm glad you're on board, Sarah. It's all about finding the right balance between enjoying ourselves and managing our finances responsibly.
Absolutely. And by taking the time to plan it all out, we'll avoid any unexpected expenses. Should we create a detailed budget spreadsheet to keep track of our spending?
That's a fantastic idea, Sarah. We can list all our expenses, from gas to groceries, and monitor them daily to ensure we're within our limits. Plus, it'll give us a clear picture of where we can cut costs if necessary.
And I'll start researching free or low-cost activities at our destination, like hiking trails or local festivals. That way, we can still have a memorable experience without overspending.
Perfect. And if we manage to save some money during our trip, We can set it aside for future vacations or unexpected expenses.
That's a wise move, Mark. It's reassuring to know that we can have an enjoyable vacation while being financially responsible. I appreciate your dedication to making this work.
I'm dedicated to making memories without breaking the bank, Sarah. We'll have a fantastic time, and our budget-friendly vacation will be something to be proud of.
What is the underlying theme of Mark and Sarah's conversation?
So 30 seconds to answer this one. So the question is, what is the underlying theme of the second part of their conversation, right? It grows in complexity. And remember that you should always have in mind what's the problem, if it's solved, why the problem happened. Sometimes they do not say it, and how they're planning to solve this problem. So what is the main idea, right? What is behind what they are talking about? They are planning a luxurious vacation. Luxurious, expensive. So no, right? They are on a tight budget. Balancing pleasure and financial obligation. They still want to have a good time, right? She said she's gonna look for free or low-cost events in the place that they're gonna visit. So it could be, right? Discussing their favorite hobbies. Are they talking about hobbies? No, really, right? Arguing about budgeting techniques. They didn't mention any techniques, right? They were just like making decisions on how they can spend less. So, number 2.
How often do Mark and Sarah plan to monitor their expenses?
So this one, more straightforward. How often? How often is the frequency? How often do Mark and Sarah plan to monitor their expenses? How much they spend, right? So he said daily, yeah? Just to keep track daily.
When you come face to face with a process,
And sometimes we have ads, right? Because, yeah, that's how Facebook, how YouTube is when you don't have an ad block. Let's move on to the next one.
Research at their destination.
Let's go.
What will Sarah research at their destination to save money?
So what will Sarah research at their destination to save money, right? Remember? Pleasure versus financial obligations. So high-end, super expensive, cool, modern restaurants to dine in, expensive spa treatments. It's the opposite of what they want, right? Free or inexpensive activities,
You will hear the third section.
right? So it's pretty easy, yeah? Everything is the opposite, but number 3, free or inexpensive activities. Inexpensive is the opposite of expensive, cheap, right? Let's take a look at question 7. At section 3, sorry.
You will hear the third section of the conversation shortly.
Remember to take notes.
It's really comforting to know that we're a team in this, Mark. We can enjoy the journey of planning and saving, and our vacation will be all the more rewarding because of it.
I couldn't agree more, Sarah. Plus, it's not just about saving money, but also making the most of our time together, savoring every moment.
Exactly. And by being mindful of our budget, we'll appreciate the little things that make a trip special, like a homemade picnic by the lake or watching the sunset from our campsite.
That sounds like a dream, Sarah. I can't wait to experience those moments with you. We'll come back from this vacation with unforgettable memories, not financial stress.
And once we're back, we can start saving for the next adventure. This trip is the first of many wonderful journeys we'll share.
I love your optimism, Sarah. We make a great team, and I'm grateful that we can tackle any challenge, including budgeting for our dream vacations.
It's a journey in itself, and I'm so lucky to have you by my side. Let's make this budget-friendly vacation one for the books.
Agreed, Sarah. Let's do it.
When Sarah mentions homemade picnic by the lake, what does she imply?
So here's asking, when Sarah mentions homemade picnic by the lake, what does she imply? So that's that type of inference questions that we talked about in the beginning. So what is behind that? When you talk about a picnic, expensive? No. The importance of homemade meals during the trip, the necessity of avoiding is the opposite. She wants to have picnics. Splurging is when you exaggerate. You splurge on ice cream in the summer, for example. So the importance of homemade meals, of cooking at home during the trip, so they don't overspend, right? So 2 here. Let's go for the next and last one of part 1.
What do Mark and Sarah want to avoid after their vacation, as mentioned in the conversation?
So what do Mark and Sarah want to avoid in their vacation or after their vacation? They want to have unforgettable memories. So avoid is the opposite. Avoid is what they don't want, right? They don't want expensive experiences. They don't want long-term planning, or they don't want financial stress, tight budget. They really don't want financial stress, right? So that was part 1. Yeah, I'm gonna divide it into part 2 for the next recording, okay?